Alrighty then. So, hello everybody. Welcome to the Mikestand. We're actually came in a few seconds early, just simply because everybody was here and we still needed to get some stuff taken care of before we get started. And I see Diana muted herself, and Chris is okay.
I'm messing with mine.
I thought I
Yeah.
was supposed to.
Well, I only needed you guys not to really say anything while I just went over and made the transition to the on YouTube to mute that one, mute that.
Okay.
So, and if you guys can't, I don't know if you guys can or not, but if you can open like a second window to help with the views and stuff, that'd be appreciated too.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to share that stuff.
Oh, if you can do that too, that'd be nice too. I can share and
You know what? I forgot to.
Well, somebody I guess gave me a like last night because I ended up with 2 last night, even before the show even started. So,
That
yeah.
was
So
probably me.
I know you guys were telling me before the show how your day was going. So I know we're still gonna wait a few minutes to give people a chance to come in, or So how Chris? How about your day? Because I know I just heard Diana. How'd your day go?
Actually, I didn't have that bad of a day. I have a new coworker, so it's a lot of fun getting to know the guy, getting him into the business, and yeah, it was an all right day. You know what I mean? It's a Friday. It's like, all right, so I get to draw. Maybe I'll do some streaming this weekend. I don't know, but yeah, it's gonna be fun. And Diana, she's had a rough day, but together we have a dog named Chewy that's been terrorizing us. And we were just waiting for her to get fixed so that she is no longer raging with hormones.
She's been terrorized.
She's about 8.5 months old now. And the hormones are starting to really drill up. And she's like, torn through 2 different dog beddings and toys don't
last
last.
2 days, she's been crazy.
That's what happens when you're an animal. That your instincts tend to take control more.
That's true.
Yes, sir. It's been crazy though. She's a challenge. She's always got you going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
you got pretty hair, lady.
I took it down. My head was killing me. I had it up all day.
All right. And looks like we have. I'm wondering if the 3 views are the 3 of us, or if there's actually somebody else in there too. Because sometimes
people may watch your show after the live part of it. So I say just
your show actually has become part of my overnight routine without me knowing it. Because of my viewing habits, YouTube creates like this algorithm, and when I go to sleep at night, this will sound weird, Mike, but you wouldn't believe how many times I wake up with your voice talking about some stupid animation cartoon that I'd never seen before, and I'm like, what? Mike stands on at 3 in the morning.
You have it to where your computer just pops up on where your computer just pops open my show and you just watch it.
No, it's my TV, and what it does is it picks up on my viewing habits, and then when I hit autoplay, it'll start wherever I start it. Like usually I'll watch I like right now I like watching fake cops get busted. So I fall asleep watching that, and then it goes into like, okay, what has he watched when every other time, and it starts pulling out of your shows, Tech Moan, and there's one other Game Sack. I always wake up, or sometimes Angry Video Game Nerd too. But you guys are always in the same bunch. It's always, oh wow, look, Mike's on again.
So you are getting my. Well, actually, it's kind of funny because last night's show, and I don't know if this was because somebody actually sat there and watched it for a little bit more of a duration, but I guess one of the replays I got on there, some of the replays I got on there, somebody apparently I got an hour's worth of replay watch, I guess, because
that might have been me.
I don't know how much you guys look at your analytics on YouTube, because I do look at mine quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I avoid mine because they're so bad. I'm like, oh god.
Well, mine aren't always the most appealing either, but I still like to look at them anyways. But like I had over an hour watch on over like in terms of average time watched over 2 views, I'm going, okay, somebody actually looks like somebody actually sat through a good chunk of the video then.
I'm telling you, it might be my algorithm.
Hours.
Because when I wake up, I put it back on dog music sometimes because my doggies are with me. So if I get up and anybody's on, I'll turn on the doggy music and lay back down, and then they'll like go back to sleep. Hopefully, that's the prayer. Please, Chewy, don't get up, don't pee on the floor. I'll kill you, dog. Not really, but.
Oh, you better not say that.
Really? That might get taken seriously, right?
You have no ground with a certain individual.
Yeah, somebody might take that seriously, but my dog is no, she's spoiled rotten. That's the problem. Yeah,
she's not spoiled rotten. She's a puppy. She's 8 months old. She's full of energy.
I think I spoil her rotten.
Yeah.
So theoretically,
I let her get away with
now, I know people have told me over the years the calculation does vary as they get older or something like that, but usually at that young, usually for every 1 year the dog ages, it's like would be the equivalent to 7 years for a human or something like that. That's always how I understood it. So 8 months, that's like 2/3 of a year times 7. So basically, she's about 4 or 5 years old compared to you compare her to a human.
I know, Christopher. I hear him. Stop. This has been a long-standing debate in our home. I say to Chris, when she is a year, then you start counting it as a 7 year. Prior to that, she's still in the months. And he said no.
Nope.
So he's agreeing with you.
Again, I don't know myself. I've always understood it. It's for every 1 year, it's 7 years. Albeit, I've had people tell me
6 months.
It's like when they get older, when they get to like my dog's age, for example, Chloe, who's like 40 years, or our dog, she's like 14 now. Right. That's not necessarily the case. I think at some point as they get older, that gauge or whatever shrinks a little bit. So but I just
Mike, they're really like that old as in the human years, and that's why they're so grumpy when they get old. I don't know if you have a Chihuahua, but our little Chihuahua,
no,
the older she gets,
we used to. We did have a Chihuahua that died like a few years ago, but yeah, and that one went through kind of somewhat of a unfortunate death where.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got it. There is an actual chart. How old is a dog in human years? At 8 months, she is 9 years old. She does not act like 9 years old. She acts like 3. At 2 months
no, she acts like a 9-year-old.
Yeah, I guess. She's fresh.
Just a real brat of a 9-year-old.
9 years old. 9 years old over at 2/3 of a year.
Yes,
that's what her website claims, Mike.
I'm looking at this website. It says canine age at 8 months old. Human age is 9.
I think that's a Russian bot filled with misinformation to confuse you.
I just generally
Mike and I both know it's 7 years.
I just stick with the old 7 years for every 1 year. It's just simple. It's simple for me. That's how I've always understood.
Yep. Same here, brother. I'm with you.
That particular gauge is how I think for me it's easy to justify too, because if you think about it, on average, dogs usually live about 13 years or so on average. So if you think about it, at just the plain gauge that I go by, which is 7 years for 7 human years for every 1 human year.
I put that's the website.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, but Diana, they're wrong though, because Einstein was the one who invented the 7 years to every 1 year, and Einstein's right.
I'm not sitting here trying to get into a debate. I'm just expressing what from what I have learned over.
I'm going to die on this hill. 7 years for 1 year.
Anyways, let's get on to some happier things, because let's
get on to the real meat of the matter, and that's
comic books.
Right. I enjoy talking to you guys like this as well, but there is a reason we're here, obviously. So today we're going to be looking at we're going to be continuing our look through June of 1939. We're going to be focusing in on Fiction House, which was a publishing company back then, and we're going to be looking at specifically at Jungle Comics Volume 1, Number 9. And of course, the two main stories we're going to be looking at will be Sheena of the Jungle.
Ooh.
And so Diana, means you'll get to actually bring out your inner jungle girl.
Yay!
And I'll give you some at least ideas from what I've observed, like in terms of give you some guidance as to what I think you might want to aim for. But do it as best you can, obviously. And then also Weird Stories of the Supernatural, The Secret Diary of Dr. Haywood. That'd be the other main feature we'll be doing. And then after that, depending upon how much time we have, we'll go back through the book and look at some of the shorter stories and just kind of go through them, as we go along. And as always, anything catches your attention, anything grabs your attention, you want to comment on or ask about, go ahead. Diana, did you want me to send you the link to the comic?
Are you going to put it on the page? I mean, do you normally put it on the page? You can send me the link. That's fine. I can.
Well, because I do it myself, but I know like RJ sometimes I'll send the link. Like Rick usually asks me to give it to him ahead of time so he can study up on some of the characters.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. That would be good.
Did you say June or July?
June. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so just to clarify, so you understand, Chris, the way I reference them are by on sale date. The actual
so you're
cover
not looking at the cover date?
Yeah. The cover date I think is like August. Okay.
All right.
It's a red backdrop with a huge ape-looking man with a blonde-haired guy about to try to hit him with a shotgun. Actually, using the shotgun like a blunt object. You see it?
Not yet, but I'm going to find it.
Okay, well,
it's no problem.
I'll put the link in the chat here, and then you guys can. Okay. I'll probably just put it in the private chat.
Okay.
So I don't get basically accused of trying to pirate it or anything like that. But you guys should be able to. I should be able. Okay, there's the private chat. Had to try to remind myself of where that thing is because I hardly ever use it. But anyways, all right. The link is in the private chat if you want to check that out.
Got it.
And then you can pull that up for yourself if you wanted, because I will be pulling it up on my end here too in a moment.
You know what? I had the wrong title. I had Jungle Comics, not Jumbo.
Yeah, Jumbo Comics. Yeah, they did both. They did Jumbo Comics and Jungle Comics.
Yeah, but I screwed that up.
That's okay, Chris. It happens. Okay, so of course, let me just go back one page real quick. So you guys see it? You guys see it there then?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
all right.
I got it.
And actually, from what I read, I think Sheena's the. Now, to give you kind of an idea from my perspective, from what I've seen of how she's drawn and stuff, my guess is now Sheena, much like Tarzan, was somebody who was basically lost in the jungle. Was basically raised. Well, she wasn't raised by apes, so she was raised by a tribe. So she was raised in the jungle. Now, based on what I could tell by how she looks like she's probably in her 20s. Mm-hmm. So, but remember, she's been raised in the jungle. So, depending on how the dialogue comes off, she's still pretty intelligent, but she hasn't necessarily had any formal schooling, I don't believe. Mm-hmm. So, or at least in terms of like any like university or anything like that. So
is she undereducated? Like when she sees Amanda, she go, "It's a man."
Nope.
Is she like not that kind of girl?
Nope.
All right.
All right. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So, and you do have your version, your part ready too, right? for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here it is, Jumbo Comics, 64 pages, full color. Let's see, all features complete, no serials. So these are all one-offs then, basically. These are episodic. Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. It's a thrilling new adventure, Mad Master of the Apes. Now, some of the stories prior to this, from what I understand, or the story prior to this, that when we were reading it, it was reprinted from a British magazine called Wags. So, and then also Hawks of the Sea, Weird Stories of the Supernatural, The X-5, Spies in Action, Spencer Steele, Super Sleuth Wilton of the West, Peter Pup, Inspector Dayton. So we'll see all of these. And look at well, Chris, I know you're the artist here. What do you? How do you like the color scheme here? All this.
Well, the color scheme kind of hurts my eyes a little bit, but what's
A little
throwing
too
me off
bright,
the most?
maybe?
What's that?
A little too bright.
Yeah, and you see the arm closest to the spine on the big troll-looking monster thing. His like arm is it's just out of whack compared to the other arm. Like the muscle looks really small. That could be explained by saying he's just a mutant freak.
The inner arm or the outer arm?
Well, I think it's called a bicep, the one right underneath the shoulder muscle.
No, I'm talking about. So there's the inner arm, the arm that's closer to us, the one that's more inside, and then you have the outer arm on the outside there.
Well, really, it's the arm closest to the spine where the green leaf is supposed to be, where it says Sheena, Queen of the Jungle.
Yeah.
Master
okay, yeah.
That arm just looks a little weird to me. They could explain that by saying that's a monster, and the artist, he's good. Otherwise, that's the only thing that I keep looking at that, going, oh, I can't stop seeing that arm.
Well, the I guess the title of the story is Mad Master of the Apes.
Yeah, so he's probably mutated and twisted and stuff. So that's
exactly
not as big of a deal, but it just caught my eye. Also, I noticed there's a girl in the background. It might even be Sheena.
Oh, that right there, yeah. That blonde-haired girl with the coming down with a knife right there. That is Sheena.
So I don't want to sound all Neo or whatever, but like, how come the guy, like, she in something I've learned, she should have been way bigger if she's the star of the book. But I don't know who this guy is. Maybe he's a big star too.
Right.
Maybe he's like Spencer Steele.
Okay. If I understand correctly, the guy is basically he's kind of her partner. So the previous story had basically, as I told you, she was raised raised by a tribe, right?
Right.
And a professor and his assistant came to their tribe to, and it ended up with her and this guy probably taking off, together to go on adventures. That's the gist of it, anyways. So, start going through the comic here a bit here. So, come on, come one, come all. So look at that. Got some. Come one, come all. Jumbo Jim cordially invites you to the unveiling of the great new Jumbo Comics. It's a red, white, and blue letter day for all Jumbo Comic fans. Red, white, and blue, orange, green, and yellow, as well, because Jumbo Comics has graduated into color. So before, all the stories were in black and white. From now on, your favorite features will be rich, vivid, brilliant, clean-cut colors, true to life. I like how they say that. Do you guys like how they say that?
Mm-hmm.
Rich, vivid, brilliant, clean-cut colors, true to life. That's a good
very specific
word presentation right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these days some editor would have cut that down to like brilliant colors, true to life.
Right.
Because they're always cutting out text these days.
Mm-hmm.
Probably trying to keep the page count down. Now, of course, this is back in the days when comic books were actually comic magazines, and they were, of course, 64 pages, 68 pages. But still, just when you see that, And that's not all. No siree. Wow. the language back then. No siree. The only time you usually will hear that is either when you're reading these comics or you're watching like old cartoons like Looney Tunes or something like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To make Jumbo comics easier and more fun to handle, we cut it down. But inside, it's the same stupendous Jumbo. And that's true because there was another, and I'm sorry that I never got a chance to have you read. There was one other feature that they used to have that they took out of here. It was more of a slice of life feature called Gilda Gay. And I think you would have got, I think Diana, you would have got a kick out of that if
Mhm.
you had a chance to see that feature. 'Cause
Wow.
that was kind of an interesting little feature too. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, let's see. It's got the same grand features, 64 pages of them, and it's the same big dime's worth. Another thing, each thrilling, blood-curdling feature, Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, Hawks of the Sea, The Diary of Dr. Hayward, and all the others is complete in each issue. Prior to this, these stories were more serial written. They were written like serials.
Mhm.
And before Chris makes his joke, that's Serial, not Cereal.
Wow, Chris, he's got your number.
No, I know about cereals.
I know, but knowing your humor like I do, I had a feeling you probably would have made the bowl of cereal type joke.
No, in general, Mills, I don't do that kind of, posting. I'm not a Kellogg guy.
Anyway, all I can say is Jumbo, and I sure hope you like the new Jumbo comics. What do you think of the new paint job? Jumbo wants to know. Jumbo Jim, and then of course all the little things there.
Should we assume
Cover date
Jumbo is
August.
the elephant?
Now at this time, of course, Jumbo Comics is running bi-monthly, every other month as opposed to every month. So that's why, at this point. But I think it would by 1940 get back to monthly. Yeah. Sheena, Queen of the Jungle by W. Morgan Thomas. Now, Chris, let me see if you know this. W. Morgan Thomas is actually a pseudonym. Do you know who that actually is?
Yes, that was Henry Ford Sr.
Actually, no, it wasn't.
No, I don't know who it is. I just picked a name out of my hat.
Yeah, Will Eisner.
Really?
Yeah, that was one of the pseudonyms Will Eisner used.
Interesting.
And then on the right there, on the right there, you have Sheena.
Yep.
And on the left, Bob Reynolds, young explorer, Sheena's companion.
Yeah.
So he was blonde on the cover, but he's actually got more brown hair. All right, so let's get going with this then. And this is going to be 10 pages. Before it was 6 pages, but they increased it to 10. So
it's Jumbo, man.
Yeah. Goated by the tales of a fantasy city by the native Agoni, Bob and Sheena make preparations to go to the fabulous city of gold streets and houses of jewels. We've heard stories like that before, haven't we?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
It's mostly narration here, but we'll get down to. Okay. For 5 weary days, the tiny group pushes its way through the teeming jungle. It's kind of funny. I've been seeing that version of the word team, or Teem, rather.
Teeming, yes, teeming.
I've heard of it before, but I never knew it until I was using until I started playing Word Connect on Facebook.
It's so funny.
Yeah. So, were you about to say something? I'm sorry, Diana.
No, I like that word. I always like that word. Yeah. Teeming. We don't hear it that much. You're correct in saying that.
Yeah, it's one of those things you don't really hear too much anymore. I didn't even realize. I mean, I've obviously heard of TEAM, but the TEEM I hadn't even known that was even really a word, even though I probably had heard teaming somewhere along the line before, but just didn't click. But I've been seeing that more whenever I play Word Connect on Facebook. So, anyways, let's continue on here. Sheena, quickly tiring of the overground trek, takes to the trees. Lightly, she leaps from one branch to another, pausing only to let the men catch up. So you got her kind of in shadow there. It looks like up in the trees there. You see that, Diane, in that frame right there?
I do. Yep.
Yeah. That's an interesting way to put that. Sheena quickly tiring of the overground trek.
Yes.
That's again just the style of writing.
The style of writing, the word usage is very different back in 1930s for sure.
As compared to today, as I've often commented, it seemed more formal back then.
Yes,
as compared to today. Yeah. On the 6th day, they come to the concealed mountain of a mountain cave, or the concealed mouth of a mountain cave. And look at that. Really look, you got the one bright spot up in the upper left-hand corner there. After a long, tedious climb through the dark cave, the trio emerge onto a mountaintop. A frigid wind stings them at every step. All right, so let's see. We will be out of this soon. We're not dressed for this bitter cold.
I'm cold. I've never been in such a strange climate.
Look at the way the guy copied this. Wow, look at that. Look at how that's big cool. That is now. Stepping over a snowy hillock. Wow, that's a word I haven't seen before. They mysteriously find themselves in a warm field of flowers. Out behind them, the icy wind continues to roar and whine. Icy wind continues to roar and whine.
Good writing. I like it.
Yeah, it's very, very descriptive. Very good.
Well, I like the word usage. Like hillock is just a small hill. It's like a mound that they climb. But instead of saying stepping over a snowy hill, they use the word or snowy mound. Or I like the word usage. It's very cool.
Yeah. Gladly, they walk through the tall grass until they come to a huge marble gateway. They quickly ascend a long sweep of golden stairs, and there, and they have the picture, I think, of that in the next frame there. We move down here. Before their startled eyes lies the golden city. Great spires tower into the sky while temples and buildings glitter brilliantly in the shimmering grace of the hot sun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Look at it, and you see them down there. You have Sheena on the left there. I think Bob's the one in the middle, and then they have, I guess, another companion there to the right, like looking like a native there. All right. There doesn't seem to be a soul about. I wonder if this place is again just nice way he puts it. There doesn't seem to be a soul about. Diane, do you know what that phrasing would mean in this context?
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a soul about. There doesn't seem to be anybody. But it's interesting
around,
that he doesn't.
Right?
Well, it's interesting that he uses the word soul instead of anybody.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was trying to get at there. Let's see. Okay. Here comes a strange-looking fellow towards us. You will please follow me. The trio is led through the majestic setting to an open courtyard. Now, this is going to be a little trickier just because trying to figure out exactly, because sometimes the way they put these panels together, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's a little tricky to figure out exactly how to follow the.
Well, it looks like you'd go to the right where it says you seem to be frightened of my pets. Because then the panel below says,
That's what I'm trying to.
well, yeah, because then below it says harm you. We don't want to harm you. We are friends. So
Okay.
that's what I would do.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Diane.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like again, sometimes the way they put these panels in some of these older comics is a little tricky to figure out. And I've done that before where I've read them out of order because I didn't figure out the right order. But thank you. Let me see now. Oh. You seem to be frightened of my pets. They will not hurt you. That is as long as you don't try to harm me.
Hey, I gotta point something out.
But
I think he's drugging the monkeys. See the mist out of those little incense burners?
Yeah.
I bet you he's drugging them. He's the monkey master, right?
well, I guess the name of the story is the Mad Master of Apes. I think.
There you go. So he's drugging the apes. That's my opinion. I hope I didn't spoil the story.
Well, it's not spoiling it if you figure it out. I mean, it's not necessarily spoiling it. I mean, because you've never read this story before, right?
No.
And I know I've never read it before, and I don't think Diana's read it before, right?
Nope.
So then we're not spoiling it. We may just be figuring it out. And if you've ever noticed when you've done shows with me before, we do a lot of like reading comprehension type questions, like going through and what do you think will happen next year?
I'm looking at the art and thinking
without me actually prompting you to do it, which is okay too.
But I mean, looking at the art and thinking of Will Eisner, that's a lot of smoke just to, a lot of mist or whatever, just to be part of the scene.
Maybe he's using it to sedate the apes.
Yeah, that's my thought.
I don't know if sedating the apes. I mean, because look, the one particularly behind him looks more like he's going pretty rabid.
Well, I don't know. Is that a real ape or just a statue?
No, it's a real ape.
Arms and stuff.
No, he's real.
You think so?
I can tell by his eyes.
Stop. All right, let's keep going now. Harm you.
All
That's where we are now.
Yeah. Harm you? We don't want to harm you. We are friends. Friends? Bah! I have no friends. Friends? Hee hee. I am glad you came. The feast of Orga is near, and I shall use you as my sacrifices. He he he. Like my evil voice?
I just think the writing is funny. He. Ooh, that's so scary.
You guys like my evil voice right there?
Yes, that was very good.
You're up, dear lady.
Yep, I see it. This man is crazy. Let us run away.
And quickly, this man is a dangerous maniac.
Look at how they hyphenated that word, Chris, in the bubble.
I know you would kill me for that.
I would kill you. I'd be like, yeah, that's not happening.
But remember, this was all done by hand. We had to squish it.
Is that what you're talking about?
What's that?
When you said that about how they hyphen dangerous, is that what you were talking about?
Yes, I would never allow that. I think it's cheesy.
But these were done by hand. Remember that. They weren't a digital fix.
I know.
Yeah. So, and they, of course, could only do a certain amount of space within those balloons, too.
No, I get it. I'm just saying nowadays it would not happen.
Nowadays, there'd be no excuse for something like that to happen.
But hey, I got a question. Is this a semi-adult show?
To an extent, I mean,
All right, but I just want to phrase this properly. But Sheena seems to be a bit exposed on the side there.
yeah. Well, hello, Robert. I just noticed you were hail our only true comic book savior, Lord Xenu, and his only true prophetess Princess Xena, and her
It looks odd, Chris.
sapphic companion
Doesn't look normal.
Saint Gabriel.
Your chest is way too low for her armpit. Look at how low it is.
Well, it looks like side boob to me. Just to be clear.
No, but it's not.
And Diana, you said hello to Robert, and Robert replied back. And I know Robert's probably glad you're here because he had a bit of a complaint about me doing the female voices last week. Of course, I only do them when I have to because somebody has to.
Exactly. So, I'm sure you did a fine job.
Huh?
And I'm sure you did a fine job on that.
I did the best I can.
There you go. That's all you can do, right?
Right. Led by Agani, Sheena and Bob turn and run from. So Agani must be the guy who's with them, the native who's with them. Turn and run from the throne room. And the Mad King screams a command to his vicious pets. After them! Don't let them get away! With an enormous bound, the huge female gorilla attacks. Wow, female gorilla. Attacks Bob. Spinning about, Bob presses the trigger of his gun, but it jams.
Now that wasn't a good sequence of storytelling.
Oh yeah, why?
A lot happened in that narration that could have been drawn in that big wide panel. We could have had 3 panels showing all that. I think someone had a deadline.
Yeah.
Well, remember too, they didn't exactly have computers back then, and it's not like you could email the scripts to whoever. You know, they had, these were, as you pointed out earlier, hand drawn, and they were, they didn't have all the nice little tools comic book writers have today. But that's also what makes it so somewhat cool, in that sometimes the old saying about the idea of less is more.
Right.
Now, Chris, take a look at that panel over there with the gorilla having Bob over his head. Now look at Sheena right there. What's your take on that? Like, look at how they drew her.
Honey, I just gotta say, I'm glad that I'm married and I love you. Sheena's beautiful there.
No, that's not where I was going with it.
It's kind of weird. Like, to be honest, the whole composition of the panel is a little odd, and she kind of looks almost like she was cut and pasted onto the side to make sure you could see her. Yeah. But it shows it's I don't want to say rushed. I'm just saying it feels like he was probably put to the pressure to get this out.
This is all penciled and colored and stuff by hand, isn't it? This is not digital. Yeah, so you can tell totally.
Well, okay, yeah. Well, the point I was seeing there is it looks, if you look at her leg. Look at her leg, right? It looks like she's stabbing herself right in the leg.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it does a little bit. Yeah.
And the foot doesn't look like it's as formed as well. Again, I know it's just probably. But anyways, I do need to go check something real quick, so I'll be right back. So I'm going to go off camera here for a moment. So if you guys want to, while I'm gone, you guys would like to maybe pitch anything, pitch any projects you got or anything like that, feel free to do so. Talk to everybody, and then when I get back, we'll continue on. I got to go check something though. All right, I'll be right back.
Okay.
So you know what else I'm going to talk about real quick?
What's that, sir?
She got no ass in the next panel.
Well, look at the next panel. Seriously, just look at look at her body. What happened? It's like
Well,
she
not
missed.
only that, but look at the. Okay, so this is where I'm going nuts.
So there's no
All of a
butt. There's
sudden,
no
the ape is
nothing.
there. Look, the ape is there without the guy in his hands, and there's no narration saying he threw him.
Right.
And she is that another ape? And like, why is she now in front of the ape instead of behind it? If there's two
Because
apes,
he turns around to her. He
okay, but
literally
that's not
turns.
clear.
It's a different wall. No, you're right. But look at the wall with the guy.
And the Partridge Family floors.
Yeah, but it's just funny for me to see this kind of art because I'm not used to seeing
You
all
would,
the
you would not let me pass with this.
No, I wouldn't. But this is back in 1939. This was amazing
Right.
back then. It's certainly vintage, and
Well,
it's
that's why I was
certainly
saying it had to have been on a tight deadline because
yeah.
from what I've
But
read
look at
back
her
then, one of the
body.
biggest
Oh my
things
god.
was what?
I cannot stop looking at her pose. It doesn't look like they did anything in the front part of her body. It looks like they drew her back. You're right. She's got no butt. There's no butt. There's nothing there. But
But
the
her
front
thighs are so big that she'd be coming down into a little pencil butt there. Look at that. With those thighs, she should have major trunk business going on. There's no way that
major
the
chunks.
glutamus
Gluten,
maximus
gluten.
reduces in size like that with a thigh like that. She should
That
be like
doesn't
Venus.
bother me as much as she doesn't have any breasts. There's nothing there in the front of her. It
Why
looks like
haven't even
she
gotten
got
past the butt? But obviously, with thighs like that, she should have much larger breasts.
It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. That's so
Either
funny.
that
It
or the
looks
thighs
like
have to come way
I'm
down.
looking at it and I'm like, what she's missing? Like he forgot to draw the front side of her? Doesn't it look like that? Look at her again. Like I have it pulled up on my full size, and
Yeah,
I'm
I do
like,
too. I have it. I have it too.
where is the front of her body? Like if you go back and you look at, I think they've done a side view of
There's a
her
little black
before.
squiggle there, and I think that represents her breasts, but it's not in proportion with any of the other breasts or the rest of the body that we see there,
And now
or the
I'm
forearm
looking,
that's way too short. Wow.
right.
Maybe
So
like if this was Will Eisner, I gotta believe he rushed it because he was on a deadline.
so listen, I just went back to all the other pages because I was looking for a reference to see if there was another side view of her. That is so crazy creepy. It looks like he forgot something. Hey,
Do I dare click the next page? I can see the next page. You can too.
yeah, I know.
Now I'm
Let's
cheating
see.
though.
That's
Her
all right.
body makes a comeback later on. We'll see that soon.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I mean, in the next panel or two, it does come back, but
So maybe it's an effect of that drug that he's got in those little incense burners.
there's another one that he doesn't do the side view either. It's on
Stop. You're
page.
you're cheating.
Sorry.
You haven't even read The Mighty Ape Turns His Bloodshot Eyes.
I'm
Staring at
sorry. Mighty
Sheena.
Ape turns his bloodshot eyes, staring at Sheena.
But see, you can't turn
Oh,
his page, so the viewers have to wait, so we
I
have to
know they
wait.
have to wait.
All right.
How about,
Anyways,
hang
Hi.
on, I
guys,
want to read
I'm back
something.
now.
I want to be part of this. Let me read one thing. Ready?
Yep.
Go back to the panel where he's got the gun on the ape. Ready?
Oh, you want to read that again? Okay.
Nope, just one part. Click.
Yes. All right. Go ahead. Oh, you already did it anyway. Even before
He's so fresh. Oh my god, you're so fresh.
All
Anyway,
right.
So officially, I don't think you've read the last panel.
the Mighty Ape.
Yeah, I'm about to do that right now.
Okay,
All
cool.
right.
The mighty ape turns his bloodshot eyes, staring at Sheena.
Ooh.
There's Sheena right there.
We were looking at her. We were discussing that she had no front part of that body for the side view and how awkward that looked.
And she has no ass.
And she's got no butt. Which
Now,
is really weird.
Again, I don't, like the way I usually will put it is, as for my videos is, while I usually mark it down as it's not necessarily made for kids, but at the same time, I also don't restrict it to just people who are 18 and over, because yes, real young kids, unless they're watching with their parents, probably shouldn't be watching this like on their own, unless their parents are watching it with them, because this is educational to a certain extent.
I can say has no butt if that makes you happier.
Yeah, I mean,
but she really doesn't, Mike. Look at that. That drawing is for those legs. Something has to change. Either the legs should be smaller or the body should be bigger.
And Rick is here. Hey, Rick. Thanks for dropping in, my friend. And of course, for those of you who haven't had a chance yet, if you guys can like and share the stream, so we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. And I thank everybody for being here. We have 6 people watching, so that's the most I've had in a while. So thank you guys for being here, and I hope you guys are
because I used the A word.
What was that?
I used the A word. They all came running.
Oh my God, Chris. Stop.
I'm teasing, brother. I'm teasing.
All right, let's continue.
Yeah. Sheena is down.
Oh no.
Sheena is down. The infuriated beast lurches forward. Bob advances. Wow, I like that. I like that sequence of phrasing right there.
Can I use dots like that in my dialogue, Diana?
Oh boy.
Sure, why not?
Thank you. Okay.
As the fierce bull is about to clutch Sheena, Bob dives onto his back, vainly trying to overcome the terrible strength. With a swipe of his huge paw, the gorilla knocks Bob to the ground, unconscious.
Uh-oh.
Clumsily, he turns and again makes for Sheena. Agilely, she escapes from his ponderous lunge. Agilely, did I pronounce that right, Diana?
Yeah, agilely, yep.
All right.
You know, we have to respect the fact that if kids were reading this in 1939, they were a little bit better at reading than our kids today.
100%.
Well,
this is a comic book.
Well, okay. Here's my take on that too. I think, like, because I remember recently, right? When I was covering a story about Alan Moore recently, right? How one of the things he was talking about how comics are just made for 12-year-olds, something along that line. Now I know that's not necessarily true because as we were reading here, you could tell this stuff some of this stuff is pretty mature, or at least it's not for a 12-year-old as we would think a 12-year-old would be today.
Well, definitely not back in the day. Not back in 1939, that's for sure.
12-year-olds were probably a lot more mature than back then than they are now, because they had to be.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them were helping out their families in some form or another. Either
they were working full time. Yeah. A lot of them were working full-time jobs, like what men do.
Actually,
in the factories.
One of the features I follow that I read through this.
Mm-hmm.
Squibbly Gibbet. I don't know if that sounds familiar to you, Chris. Squibbly
Not really,
was somebody who basically you could tell he was probably about 12 or 13, and he was a cartoonist. Now Squibbly was modeled after his writer Sheldon Meyer. But
a self-insert.
Yep. So that's
one of the
originals. So, all right. So, anyways, moving on with the thing here. Diane, you're up.
Okay. If I can get to those vines and cut them with my knife, it will make a perfect net, a trap to entangle the brute. The brute. Sorry.
No problem. I've had you probably heard me too before catch myself on some of that sometimes too.
Mm.
However, the beast stands between Sheena and the vines. Growling his defiance, Sheena approaches him cautiously. Suddenly, with the speed of a deer, she runs from his lumbering reach and runs towards the vines. Diane, can you see yourself in that a little bit?
Yep, that's exactly what I would do. I'd be so light and quick on my feet. My target would be the vines, and I would achieve that target for sure.
Yeah. With a graceful leap, Sheena grasps a sturdy vine and pulls herself out of immediate danger. Screaming his rage, the giant ape bounds after the fleeing girl. Now, what do you think in that context? What do you think the term bounds means, Diane?
What do you mean? He bounds.
It's the
He goes
boundary,
after
like
her.
on a basketball court. You
No,
can't
he
go out of
bounds.
bounds.
Like no, he bounds. He goes after her. He jumps after her. He bounds after her. He quickly goes after her.
Are you sure? Because he's a little bit out of bounds by going after her.
Christopher, don't even mess with me.
Oh boy. Chris is being playful right now, we can tell.
I'm trying hard, but I'm no Rick Piper.
Viciously, Sheena hacks at the tangled vines, powerful strokes, severing them at a single chop.
Wow, she's strong.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if she's doing that with her hand or with a knife. She did have a
I
knife.
think it's
in her
a
hand.
knife. Looks like a knife to me.
Yeah. Well, because she could have been karate chopping too.
Hmm.
You know,
True, but in Japan, the hand can't be used like a knife.
What?
It doesn't work on a tomato, so that's a vine. It wouldn't work. It has to be a knife.
Yeah. Good point. Anyways, with a piercing shriek, the huge ape goes crashing to the floor as the vines part. Down, down he spins, landing with a dull thud that spells death for the savage brute. And looky there, seizing a vine, Sheena glides to the ground and hurries to Bob.
Bob, are you all right?
My head, it's spinning like a top. Looks like our friend the king has deserted us.
Agani is gone too.
Perhaps he went through that door. We'll take a look.
All right, Bob.
As the couple enter the courtyard, a trap door is sprung and they go hurtling through the gap. What the? I can't hold on. I can't hold on much longer, Sheena. I'm losing my grip. We fall. Down, down they plunge to land with a tremendous splash into a sluggish underground river.
That's
Chris, you want to do the splash?
I don't know where he went.
Oh, he took a splash.
There you go.
Sheena, are you safe?
Yes, Bob. Come, let us swim ashore.
So, as Sheena and Bob head for shore, a lone, tattered figure calls to them. Hello there! Come on in! Here, let me give you a hand. Was that Chris?
No, that was my daughter. I'm sorry.
I'm Thad Barker. I see that maniac above has made prisoners of you too. Thad Barker, the missing explorer? What is your daughter listening to us? Go on and on.
No, she's in the other room, but she sneezed really loud. So
She has the wild sneeze.
No, the wild sneeze is what they show with Bugs Bunny when they go achoo 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 achoo.
That's true.
Ah,
Very good point.
yeah. Yeah. Yes. I've been here almost a year now. I'm the only survivor of my expedition. The rest were killed.
Do you think the dude likes it? Like,
Huh?
why didn't he get out of there by now?
Well, he's on some sort of deserted island or something. He doesn't.
Yeah,
He can't.
maybe he can escape
He's
for
a
all we
lost
know.
explorer. Yeah.
I don't know. He's got a big chest. He could probably fight hard.
Anyway, that mad king offered them up as sacrifices to his idols and threw me down this pit. I've tried to escape hundreds of times without success.
Oh, there we go.
But the river must have some outlet.
Now he's thinking.
Yes, my friend, it has. I followed it when I first got here, but at the end of this river, the falls as high as Niagara, escape is impossible.
Hey, do you notice the red box there? Remember they were talking about the sharp, vivid, precise colors?
Uh-huh.
That really stands out on that page. I just thought, wow, it reminded me when they said that in the beginning. The vibrant, rich color, you know.
Well, if you think about it, these colors do kind of stand out, though, don't they, Chris?
There, I like that more so than any other panel. I like the way that sort of contrasts with the whole. I was like, wow, that's a neat. It drew me right in. It's a simple little.
Now imagine reading this back in 1939 and seeing that must have been for those who were reading this when it first came out. That must have been
a big wow factor.
Experience.
I think it was a big wow factor. It was like, oh my God, this is incredible.
Right.
Well,
after a long, tedious walk, the three captives come out upon a high cliff under a roaring fall.
Dun 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 dun.
All right. That distant cliff is our only hope. There's 400 feet of ravine and a waterfall between us.
I have a plan. If I started from that high mound on this side, I could swing right over. Then I could throw the rope back and you could climb over. Bob, can you hold the rope in the middle here? It will act as a pendulum swing.
Pendulum. I think the word is pendulum.
Yep, I did say that.
All right. But we have no rope. For a week, the trio spend hours patiently braiding the tough strands of grass into a long, powerful rope. There, that does it. Come, let's not waste any time. Ready, Sheena? Let's go. With a running leap, Sheena flings herself into the yawning chasm, rapidly gaining speed. Yawning chasm.
Yep.
That's a very interesting describer.
It does invoke that thought of a yawning chasm, though. You instantly think of that big, like,
right. I never would have thought of a chasm yawning, though. That's a very interesting way of putting it, to
It's
say the least.
Hey, I just want to point out I started laughing earlier.
it's a
Uh-huh.
It's
very
because they
large
took a
rod.
week. They took a week to make a rope, and when
Yeah.
they were finished, he says, "That does it. Let's not waste any time."
Well,
I'm
I
like,
mean,
you guys just about made an encampment there for a week.
Yeah, but they were working on that big old rope made out of grass, and it took
I
time for
guess
them.
so. That must have been quite some rope.
Remember, they were using their hands. They couldn't go to Walmart or to the local hardware store to get a rope.
right.
I understand, but oh my goodness, this was funny
Well,
wording.
I don't think Walmart existed back in 1939.
Come
but
on, really?
that's another story for another day. All right, so beads of beads of perspiration stand out of Bob's brow. Wow, beads of perspiration. Okay, that's a very
Perspiration, stand out. Yep.
yeah that's a very interesting imagery right there.
Mm-hmm.
On Bob's brow as he strains his powerful muscles on the um, slim strand of rope holding her. One slip, one slip will mean sure death.
Now for the waterfall. If I lose my speed, I won't be able to reach the other edge.
And look at that, Diana. Can you imagine yourself in that situation right there?
I know I'm afraid of heights, would not do it. I would make camp on the other side and be happy. Wouldn't do it. Nope.
Fearlessly, Sheena plunges into the mighty cataract, desperately fighting forward as tons of water almost bring her down.
Wow.
Now try and imagine swinging through a waterfall like that.
She's very powerful, huh?
Well, she was raised in the jungle.
Yeah. Well,
Granted, she was raised by a tribe, but not like Tarzan by age. But she probably she was trained in many things like tree climbing, rope climbing. Probably some more primitive form of weaponry, weapon combat.
right. I'm reading quick Rick's comments.
Well, yeah, let's see what he has to see what he's been saying here, and we have coach. Of course, he okay.
Yeah, what did they eat for a week?
The
very
grass.
interesting. Was this cavern tired? What with it yawning?
Did you know that yawning also means a very large, wide space? That's why they used it.
Okay. Well, hey, we learn things, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. On July, and Chris pointed something out here. On July 2nd, 1962, Sam Walton opens the first Walmart store in Rogers, Arkansas, 1967. Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Yes, I'm Googling stuff while you guys read. I'm looking for cool trivia that kind of relates.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look at Sheena right there with the rope and how she's hanging on the edge there. Hey, Diana.
She is going to pull herself right up there. You watch.
Yeah. She made it, plucky girl. Now you get started. Thad, I'll stay here and protect this end. Good luck. And now she's gonna send the rope back so they can try to swing across. Let me just check it. Okay. So I guess there's at least probably one more page or one or two more pages, I'd say. Just check that. I was just checking something there because this story is 10 pages and we're already 10 pages, but I know we had a couple other pages before we even got to this, so that's why I was saying it. They didn't do it as a rope swing per se. They did it more like a rope bridge.
Right. That's what she did. She brought the rope across and tied it so they could come across.
Kind of hand over hand.
Mm-hmm.
A man would have tied it tighter.
Easy does it. Easy does it, Thad. There. He's made it. I may as well get started. Suddenly, Bob hears a deep growl behind him, whirling about. He faces his captor. You won't get away this time, dog. After him, Kika. Tear him to pieces. But Bob deftly sidesteps the lunging beast. Off balance, the clumsy ape is throwing off the cliff by a sharp uppercut. Infuriated, the maniac hurls himself at Bob, knife point. Now, again, maniac was a lot more common a term back then than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that?
Mm-hmm.
I think we've seen it already, about 5 or 6 times already in this story alone? That seemed to be more of a common term back then. Today, we might use the term psychopath or sociopath.
This is true.
No, you don't. Look at the struggle between the good guy and the bad guy. Struggling furiously, Bob slips on a loose stone, and the men go hurtling over the cliff.
Uh-oh.
Ah!
Oh, no.
That reminds you a little bit of Land of the Lost, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. As he plunges downward, Bob manages to grasp the rope line. Yes, I'll be over. Yes, I'll be over in a minute. Ooh, that was close. That was a close call.
Thank goodness you're safe. It's lucky you caught the rope. If you hadn't, I hate to think what might have happened.
Sometimes the sentence structure is a little tricky, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's over. What next? To get back to civilization, I've been away so long. And we can tell this pretty much getting to the end of the story here, right?
Mm-hmm.
It will be difficult getting back. We haven't food or guns. And I believe that's Sheena speaking.
Oh, couldn't tell. Okay. Listen, someone is coming. Agani, Diki, Mamba, I'm so glad to see you.
Agani, they're happy. Sheena and Bawani safe.
Oh, and he's got guns. See, he's got a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Thus, as the setting tropical sun cast fiery rays through the foliage, the trio face westward, heading for new adventures. I think that's the end of the story right there. And I'm gonna skip through the pages ahead to the next main feature that we're gonna read. And then I gotta go check. Like, I'm still trying to get my laundry done. That's why I have to keep going away here. Of course, now since I can find where the cursor is, that would help. Okay, there we go. And we'll, of course, come back to some of these other features too.
We're not going to read Peter Pup?
Maybe later.
Well, I'm going to be going to bed soon, Mike. I'm exhausted. I've been up.
Yeah, I was teasing. I just didn't realize they had a puppy story in this book.
It's 10:08. I still have to finish this memory board too, so I can't really stay for another story. I'm really sorry about that.
Well, I would still need to. Okay, well, you need to go like right now. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I need to go in just a few minutes. I can't do another story. I can't sit for another story, is what I'm saying, because I have to get a memory board. I have a funeral tomorrow I have to go to. Unfortunately, it came up this week.
Okay.
So
Okay. Well, before you go, then, let's try to see if we can get one thing done real quick. So the next set of open days I have are December 2nd, 9th, and 16th, and the 30th.
I'll have to think about it, and I'll get back to you. I can't really commit right now.
Okay.
I don't know
Did
about
Chris just go too?
What's that?
Did Chris just leave too?
I think he might have bounced off. I don't know what happened to him. He
Yeah,
would have
he
said
left. I
goodbye.
don't know why he left though.
No, he would have said goodbye. I think he might have bounced. He probably doesn't even realize it.
Huh. Because I figured he could have still stayed.
I'm listening. I can't. I don't hear him. He might have run to the bathroom and didn't realize he bounced off.
All right. Well,
Where's my phone?
if you can just, I know you have to get going, but if you can stay for just while I'm gone, real quick, and just
Yeah,
kinda
sure, I can.
talk to everybody until
Yeah, of
before I
course.
get back.
Mhm.
I understand you have to go because you have the funeral tomorrow, and I thank you for being here tonight.
Absolutely.
So, and if you can get back to me as soon as possible for the scheduling of the next
Mhm.
time you guys are in, that'd be
Mhm.
appreciated ASAP.
Absolutely.
Anyways, I gotta go check something. So I'll be right
Go do your thing, and I will hold the fort down till you come back.
back. All right.
Okay, everybody. So we are looking at. I'm not sure if he's planning to read this this story, Spencer Steele. But when he gets back, he will say that. Chris just texted me and said that his computer crashed, so he is restarting it and coming back in. It's nice to see you, Rick. And let's see who else. Code 066 Gaming. I just saw that you had come in. I apologize. I wasn't looking at the chat. I hope you guys enjoyed the reading tonight. The comic was pretty good. She hates to think of what happened. She doesn't know what will. I don't know what Rick was talking about. So I don't know. I don't think he was talking about me. I don't really know. Anyway, I'm sitting here all alone talking to just myself. Anybody have any questions in the chat? Please feel free. I will do my best to answer them. Meanwhile, we do have Hero Shack Press does have Mangai Yoshogun on Indiegogo. It's a pre-launch sign up right now. If you haven't signed up, feel free to mosey on over, check it out. We're extending the pre-launch sign up. Chris has come up with some episodes that he's going to be doing. And so rather than just doing one episode, we're going to be offering a couple episodes and making it a little bit fuller, the story a little bit fuller. Okay, so he was talking about Sheena at the end with what she said. Yeah, it was actually an interesting story to read. I know of Sheena of the Jungle, but I don't know much about her. I've heard of her, obviously. I thought it was interesting that she didn't have a ton of dialogue, and I've noticed that in the 1930 comics, most of the women in the comics that I've read thus far here on Mike's show, the dialogue seems to be carried forward with the men, and the female character has, one or two things or three or four, but they don't have like a back and forth conversation on a regular, consistent basis. So I thought that was very interesting. Whereas nowadays the comics, they have like comics with all girls in it, or they have comics that go back and forth, male, female, like in panels and whatnot. Wonder Woman. Yeah, what do they do with Wonder Woman? Does she just like have one or two, signs? I don't know. I mean, pieces of dialogue. Let's see. So I think, I'm not sure how long Mike is going to be, everybody, but he should be coming back very soon. He probably shouldn't schedule so many breaks in his live stream. Because it's kind of silly, and I don't know where Chris is. He hasn't joined me back. I'm so alone. I feel so. Oh, hi, Mike.
Hello. As I said, I had to go check my laundry because right now our wash is a little goofy because we've had some issues with the tub. So I had to go check it because or risk it getting unbalanced. So my sister took care of that for me. So, but
I was
so
just
we
making
still
a
don't know
comment.
where Chris is.
He said his computer crashed. He was restarting it.
Okay.
He
Well,
said
I guess you and I
restarting.
can talk for if you don't mind sticking around for a couple more minutes until we can see if he can come back in.
But I was making a comment because the characters, especially in the 1930s, the female characters, they don't have a lot of dialogue. And the comics that I've read thus far, as the female part, they don't really have, they have some dialogue, but the male characters seem to carry the story. And I didn't know if that was consistent with all the older comics or just the ones that we have.
Well, it's not always the case. This one, it did seem a little bit more, but there are other times when, but she's also the hero of the story. Yeah, she may not have had as much dialogue this time, but in terms of the action side of it, she had a lot more of the action scenes in there. Now,
I suppose.
Now the next feature, of course, we're going to read, I think, has a female character. Well, but she's more of a supporting character too. But like you remember how I was telling you earlier, there's another character named Gilda Gay. I think you would have enjoyed. She had quite a bit of dialogue, but that wasn't more. That was more of a slice of life one. She's kind of like a debutante type character, and had some funny. There were funny things about her character that I think you would have enjoyed. And she was featured in this, but then I guess that was one of the features they decided to drop when they went with this format change. It's just kind of a shame, but anyways.
So I don't know if Chris
there have been a few good female characters who have gotten more, like Myra North. Myra North, of course, is one, and of course we're still a year or two away from Wonder Woman. At this point. So, and things are going to pick up because here in the latter half of 39, you are going to have more books, more features starting to pop up more. Next week we'll be looking at from Fox. We'll be looking at, of course, when Rick's on with me next week, we'll be looking at like the Flame from Wonder World Comics, number 5, and then number 3, I think, or actually no, number 5, and then number 1 of Mystery Men Comics, which of course among the characters will be introduced next week will be Blue Beetle. Wow. Blue Beetle started out as a property of Fox feature publications before he went on to Charlton and eventually DC. So that'll be some stuff to look forward to.
That's very cool.
So did Chris say anything about how...
I don't know. He said his computer had crashed and that was it. Crashed restarting. So I don't know if he's still waiting for the computer and he hasn't said his computer crashed.
Yeah.
Because he just like disappeared and whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And I see what Rick is saying. Well, Chris can't come in until Mike lets him. Well, he's not even on the radar here. Rick, he's not. I know what you're talking about, obviously, but that's not the issue here. He just disappeared. We don't know why he disappeared. He just said that his computer crashed. So,
yeah, that's why he disappeared. His computer crashed.
Yeah. Let's see. So Rick was. So let's go through some of these comments here. Okay. So let's see. Rick was saying she hates to think of what happened. She doesn't know what will have happened. Okay. I don't know if that was the little westward leading still proceeding. Okay. I was talking about Sheena at the end of.
Yeah, that was me. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah. wait till you get to one. Didn't we just say that? I didn't even see that comment yet. And
Yep. You did say that because I wasn't complaining. I literally was asking. I noticed that the female characters don't have as much dialogue in the ones that I've seen, but I'm not an expert. I don't know all the comics of 1939, obviously.
well, yeah, I mean, there are some characters who do have more dialogue than appear to. Again, this is just you've only done this 2 or 3 times with me, so you haven't had as much a chance, to see as many as I have.
Right,
Unless
exactly.
of course you've had a chance to watch the shows,
Correct.
more regularly.
Right.
Because I do try to pick out at least one or two female characters when I do stuff like this, just so one or two female leads, just so we balance things out. Might depend on title and character, which is true. Yeah. Chris can, yeah, we already talked about that. Not sure if he has come back on yet or.
I know he hasn't responded. So
Yeah, I haven't
know.
seen him yet either, but
I don't know if he. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. He hasn't responded.
Now, I'm guessing you two are like in 2 separate offices in the house.
Yes, I have
you're
my
upstairs
own.
and he's downstairs or something like that, or
I am downstairs. When he has an office. He has an office upstairs. Sorry. I've been up since 5 a.m., so I apologize. I'm really very tired right now.
yeah, of course it's like 10:30 where you're at.
It's late for me. But yeah, I will get back to you. I'm not sure what my schedule looks like in December, but I will definitely let you know as soon as I know, and I'll try to get to you as soon as possible so that you can fill your spots. You know what I mean? And I know
like the 23rd is already filled because that one is RJ.
Yeah.
So and then I need to know so that like when I'm talking and then since we have 5 weeks, if you guys did want to because as I said, we have the 2nd, 9th, 16th and 30th still open. So if you guys wanted to do 2 of the weeks, you could.
Probably not. I'm really busy, Mike. I can barely make it once a month, if that. And I'm not really sure.
I'm just suggesting it as an option. I'm not. I appreciate the one time you guys can come.
Yeah.
It will be most likely Rick who will be the one who gets the 2 weeks because he's usually the one who's like the most available. But then I also am waiting on RJ for after December because with the 5 weeks, his schedule is going to go a little bouncy too here because for him now he's been having to do the L, even though he didn't do one tonight. He had. Guess he was going to probably do one, but I guess they must have canceled or something because I noticed RJ wasn't on tonight, and but now that he's doing his LCS shows on Fridays, that creates a bit more of a crunch for him. So, I guess we're still. So, so did Chris actually come down and tell you, or did he just phone you that? Yeah,
no, he basically said his computer crashed. He was restarting. I texted him, but he hasn't responded back to my text messages. So I don't know if he's sitting in his chair sleeping, because that's very, very, very likely, because he's normally in bed at 10:30, because he's up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He gets up super early. So I don't know what's going on. What time were you? I don't know if he was planning to stay later, to be honest with you. I know that I was going to do the one reading and then I would have to go. Again, I had a family member.
I'm glad that I was able to shoot Sheena for you. I think you would have maybe Diana should go figure out what happened. Yeah, I was going to suggest the same thing. I was thinking maybe if you wanted to walk up there and
okay, all right, let me do it. I'll be right back. Okay.
All right. Yeah, that was a good suggestion, Rick. Unplug. Hey, I wonder how that happened. Oh well. Oh, I guess while I'm waiting for Diane, I'm gonna go ahead move the thing to the next feature while we're waiting. And I know I'll be reading. Probably end up reading the final story here.
Okay, so his computer is updating. He's in the middle of updates. He is not coming back because he's frustrated right now. So he told me to tell you he's apologizing. The computer crashed on him. It crashed on him. He went to go start it, and then it started doing all kinds of stupid updates.
So yeah, I know how that feels. It can be very frustrating.
So
okay, so I've already
he apologizes, but he will catch up with you later.
Okay. And I know you said you got to go. So
yes, I do. I have a funeral, and I still have the memory board to finish. And I didn't know, obviously.
I thank you both for being on. I'm just sorry you guys weren't able to stay to the end, but that's still cool. You guys still got in.
Yeah.
And, you know,
you get to read and you get to enjoy the comic. I really did enjoy it. It was a fun read for sure. I love looking at the artwork, but I particularly enjoyed the words and the fact that some of the words that they used back in 1939, one of the classes that I'm taking for school right now is called the English language, and it's all about linguistics. It's all about, just different, like how the word was created and the phonetic uses. And it's like another whole language.
Over time and stuff like that, right?
Right. So it was interesting that I got to see many of the words that we wouldn't use nowadays to describe like hill and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. So I did enjoy it. It's just I'm exhausted and I've got to finish this up and be ready for the funeral tomorrow.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I would at least, I know you got to go, and I respect it. I would hope that you would at least keep the thing on. Maybe have as background. Still watch it.
Yeah, I'll leave the YouTube channel up and running. So. But I wouldn't worry about the views, Mike, because you do a good show and other people will come along and watch it, But I will keep up the Mikestand. I will keep the YouTube channel up and running. That's what I was going to say. I'll keep that going so it looks like, I'll be listening in as I finish.
I'm gonna read this last story, then probably because we're already at an hour and a half here because of all the stuff we had to do in between all that. So but thank you for being here, and I know you got to go, and I should let you go. But thank you, and I hope we get back together soon to talk about when you guys can next come on.
That sounds like a plan, Mike. You have a great Friday night, and thanks again for having us. And I will be listening as I'm putting together the rest of the memory board to your next comic, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Right. Yep. Bye, Mike. Good night, everybody.
All right. So it looks like I'm finishing up the show on my own here. But I do thank Diana and Chris for being here. I'm just sorry that the computer crashed on him. That does suck. But I hope that they did enjoy the show. I think Diana definitely did. So, anyways, let's continue on with this. Is gonna probably be the last story we're gonna hit tonight. We did spend quite a bit of time with some other stuff, so Let's keep going here. All right, so Weird Stories of the Supernatural by Kurt Davis. Imprisoned in a strange laboratory of Ali Pasha, half-mad scientist of the supernatural, Dr. Hayward and Stuart Taylor are forced to watch his weird experiments. A skull in a 20th century laboratory? That type of ornamentation belongs to the past. Yes, Dr. Hayward and Stewart. I explore the past. I have uncovered secrets few men have dared to dream of. I have found the secret of invisibility. Ali leads them into a weird laboratory. Doctor, I can. Sorry. Doctor, I can make a living body, any living organism, invisible to mortal eyes. Now, to train this perfected ray on the subject there. And the best subject would be some human. It shall be you, Stuart. Me? Not on your life, Ali Pasha. Aha, this form is fogged. It is growing invisible. Soon we will know the value of your work, Dr. Hayward. Weird Stories of the Supernatural. Awe-stricken, they watch the body of Stuart Taylor disappear as if by magic. All right. And for those who are in the chat, of course, if anything as always, anything catches your attention, feel free to comment or ask questions. I'll be glad to answer them for you. When I pull this lever, Stuart will awaken to find himself in a world that existed thousands of years ago. He will appear dressed in a costume of that age. Thus, Stuart finds himself on a mountainside, sitting on a white charger. Wow, too bad Chris isn't here. I mean, I would love to hear what Chris would have to say about that horse, the way they drew that horse. Horse looks a little funky there. How about you, Rick? You have any comments about how they drew that horse? If you're still in there. A few hours over the mountain passes bring Stuart to the land of Changchun. I don't know why, but I seem to feel that this is the city of Manchung. Okay, Manchung. That's what it is. Okay. Sometimes some of the script there can be a little hard to read. Stuart waits for the guards of Manchung to answer his summons. Take me to your master, Manchung. Very well, but beware if you mean evil. He is then led to the throne room. Oh Manchung, oh Manchung, a white stranger. Either the horse is real small or the guy is way too big. Okay. I was just thinking that the horse seemed a little skinny, not much muscle on him. But it's one of the things I noticed about it. But I know not whence you come, O stranger, but be informed that my city is about to be besieged by a villain named Moki, who seeks our lands. This war is not of my choosing, sire. However, you speak well. I will listen to your words. Okay. You are a wise king here. You are a wise king. Here is my plan. Call a meeting of your council to redivide the lands claimed. Nonsense. War is the only thing that will settle this problem. I say fight, destroy our enemy. King Manchung, if you accept my plan of dividing the lands claimed, you'll not only satisfy his Oz, but create everlasting peace. Now, of course, I think when Tim was with me a couple weeks ago, we talked about this. Some of these stories with how they all one of the stories we talked about was where about the ray that could create an invisible shield and all that. If only we could be assured of peace, I would be happy to do as you suggest. Do not heed his words, sire. Who are you, stranger? I can't explain that. Please believe me. I mean no harm. Now, of course, he can't explain it because if he told them he came from the future, they'd instantly be calling him a warlock and would probably be wanting to burn him at the stake. This looks like medieval times here. Probably looked at as a sorcerer who basically they'd want to kill. So, anyways, we continue on with the story here. Please, no more quarreling. I have decided. Traitor! You came to spy on us while your men advanced on us. No, I've been betrayed. Cast him into the dungeons. Come with me. Wadro. Verily, sire, and I will stand guard over him myself. Meanwhile, across the barren plains of Manchung, the mighty army of atop fierce, bellowing war elephants lumbers to the city in which Stuart has been imprisoned. Let me out of here. I am innocent. Ha ha ha. A likely story, you dog. Hello, guard. Oh, I'm dying. Save me. Oh, help. I'm coming. What's wrong with you? There, you in there. Whap. And we get a little bit of a fight scene here. The advantage now it hit his Stuart leaps to attack. O king, I've returned to your guard to explain. Turned with your guard to explain. There's no time for that. You will lead my men into battle. In that way, you will prove yourself. Stuart rides out to meet the foe. Hundreds of swaying lumbering elephants and swift riding warriors descend upon the city. Yeah, so I don't think the girl in this story wasn't actually in this story. So the female part of this stream wasn't really in this story. So probably, I guess Diane would not have had anything to read. Battle cries mingle with the stamp of hooves as Stuart's men clash, slashing, riding, whirling. The brave riders under Stuart's able leadership soon throws Moki's elephant guard into confusion. At Stuart's signal, the handful of horsemen return into the city. The gates close behind them. So far, thanks to Stuart's expert strategy, the scant forces of the besieged Manchung have managed to repulse the attacks of Moki's huge, well-equipped army. Now, of course, repulse is a word we don't use the word repulse as much anymore. It just basically means to fend off. Okay. Now, we still at times will use repulsive. It's something that's offending, offsetting, what have you. But repulse simply means to fend off or to, say, get away. Whew, there must be thousands of them steady. To the walls, men! Mogi soldiers are scaling the walls. From a balcony, King Mangchong watches the battle. Ah, the white stranger fights valiantly. I have not misplaced my trust in him. Yeah. On the plains commanding the battle from a hillock is Moki. There's that word again. We saw it in the Sheena story too. Enraged at the stout resistance of Stuart's men, he issues orders. Battle down the gate, signal the charge. Thus, two heavily armored battle elephants carrying a huge battery ram charge upon the gates of Manchung. Inside the walls, I'll be. Okay. I'll be worshiping idols. Manchung, what is this powder? That is a sacred substance used as a ritual to Dong, god of war. Looks like gunpowder. Gunpowder is used by the men of the world from which I come to kill and destroy their enemies. Order up all the powder you can. I have a plan. Conceal them well, for the enemy might see them. Hurry. Now, to attach long now attach long timed fuses to each keg of powder, leading to the walls. Anyways. Over the rolling plains approaching in a cloud of dust come the invaders. Stuart issues commands. Have the archers take to the parapet. The horsemen will wait at the gate till I give further orders. Above the trumpeting of the elephants, the splintering of the battered door can be heard. Light a torch, hurry. The gate won't hold any longer. Ignite the fuse and light the torches. Stand by for orders. Swiftly and with precision, Stuart orders are carried out. Like a frightened rabbit, the tiny flame speeds along the trail of the fuse to its destination. One after the other, mighty explosions thundering across the battlefield, frightened beyond reason. The army is routed. Mighty war elephants are hurled skywards. Wow. That must have been a lot of gunpowder they used. Okay, so anyways, we continue on here. The remainder of Moki's army is retreating. The white one has done well. Whew, thank goodness. It's all over. I could eat a horse. Oh white general, I have word for thee. Manchung commands thy presence in the great hall. Blub. This bath feels swell. Hand me a towel, please. I wonder why the old king has called me to the banquet hall. Some things afoot. I wager. I'll wager. Something's afoot, which is often Great Scott, a feast, and the way they smile at me It appears like it's in my honor. Welcome, O White One. We do thee honor. Thou art a noble man. The image fades, and Stuart returns to the laboratory to retell his weird experiences. Aha! His form is fogged. It is growing visible. Soon we will know the value of your work, Dr. Hayward. Follow the adventures of Stuart Taylor. Next issue, he is projected into strange worlds by the half-mad Ali Pasha. Next issue, Dungeon of the Beast. Into the lion's mouth goes Stuart to rescue a beautiful princess. Wow. So we'll just kind of scan through the rest of this because, as I said, we're Uncle Otto. Let's see, where are we at on time? So hour 51 here. So we'll probably be wrapping up here pretty quick. All right, so Uncle Otto. So we'll just kind of scan through these real quick just to the last of this, after these books here. But look at just how bright a lot of this is. And this is a good scan too. Jess laughs. Let's scan through these real quick, and then we'll Sultan of the West. Look at the bright, colorful artwork there. Inspector Dayton. Jumbo Jim's Prize Party. Alrighty then. So yeah. Okay. So anyways, thankful that everybody was stuck around as long as they did. Anyways, with all that, so we're going to go ahead now, and we're going to start to wrap things up. We're going to go through this day in each history here. Got a couple of things here, and then we'll kind of just start, as I said, start to wrap things up here. Okay, so anyways. All right, so with all that being said, today is Friday, November the 4th, 2022. Let's go ahead and take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. History! Okay, so the first off, we're going to head back 15 years ago today, as on this date, 15 years ago today, Xavier, Renegade Angel, an adult animated series produced by William Street, debuted on Adult Swim on this date back in 2007. So on this date in 2007, the Adult Swim series Xavier, Renegade Angel, produced by William Street, premiered on this date 15 years ago today. We only have a couple of history bits tonight, so we'll get to these pretty quickly here. And our last piece of Nietzsche history here. On this date, 7 years ago today, back in 2015, the first issue of Image's Monstrous went on sale on this date back in 2015. This of course, this series is still running to this day, believe it or not. So on this date, 7 years ago today, the first issue of Monstrous from Image Comics went on sale on this date. Back then, it was $4.99. It was 68 pages. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. I hope everybody enjoyed the content. Next Friday, of course, I'll have Rick Piper with me as my co-host. We'll be going through some books from Fox Feature publication. We'll be, continuing our look through books that went on sale in June of 1939, focusing on pop feature publications next week. And Rick is saying, yeah! yeah. Hope you guys will be back to catch us in. We'll be looking at Wonder World comics and looking into Mystery Men comics as well. Be introducing you to some heroes that were making their debuts at that point in time in Mystery Men Comics #1. Most notably, of course, Blue Beetle, along with Green Mask and Zanzibar the Magician. So I hope to see you guys back here next Friday. I also hope to see you guys back here on Monday, when we come back and we get back into Neat News coverage and all that. And hey, Diana. Hey, Mike. My daughter heard you reading and thought you had a nice voice for it, and to keep up the good work. Well, I tell her I said thank you, Diana. That's very nice of her. Do the best I can. I didn't have to switch as many voices around as usual, so I was able to differentiate between a narrator's voice and a younger guy's voice and an older guy's voice. So I tell her I said thank you. I appreciate the comment. Anyways, that's it for tonight, and I hope to see everybody back here on Monday. Bye.